Let's talk about climate change. They need to do a better job selling it to us. The Midwest winter is going to cease to exist. Everything I hear about climate change is awesome. Am I supposed to be worried about it? Just really benefited me thus far.
Oceans are rising? Cool. Bigger waves.
Bigger
That's
waves.
awesome.
Wow, I'm so glad that warmer winters and bigger waves are working out in your favor. But just because you're not experiencing the worst aspects of climate change doesn't mean they're not happening. Climate change is devastating the lives of millions of people around the world, especially women, girls, and marginalized communities. About 3.6 billion people live in areas highly susceptible and vulnerable to climate change and climate crises, and that number grows every single day. It's important to understand that the climate crisis isn't just rising sea levels or hotter summers, it's a full-on human rights emergency. And one of the biggest areas it affects is sexual and reproductive health and rights. And yet we barely talk about this link. When you think of climate change, do you think of sexual health and rights? Because you should. The link is very real. Climate change worsens maternal health outcomes, limits access to care, and leads to higher rates of STIs and unintended pregnancies. In the aftermath of these climate disasters, like hurricanes, wildfires, or floods, women and children are up to 14 times more likely to die than men. That's not because they're weaker, it's because of deeply rooted gender inequalities and a lack of access to essential health services that results from these disasters. Survivors of these disasters, especially women, face increased risk of gender-based violence, trafficking, and exploitation. Pregnant people are more likely to experience complications in childbirth, and access to contraception or abortion becomes nearly impossible when healthcare systems collapse due to climate crises. So, when you say climate change has been good for me, what you're really saying is it hasn't hurt me yet. But just because it isn't hurting you doesn't mean it isn't hurting millions of other people. If you care about human rights, you need to care about reproductive rights. If you care about climate change, you have to care about reproductive rights. These issues are intertwined and need to be thought about intersectionally. Especially as young people, we can't afford to treat these issues like they're separate. We're inheriting these problems and need to rise up to fight them. Speak up, speak out. Follow organizations like the Center for Reproductive Rights and Women Deliver, and amplify the youth voices already leading this fight. And when you talk about climate change, make sure you're also talking about sexual health and reproductive rights.